Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the sleep webinar by Cannabaquin. My name is Mumchul. I'm based in Brussels, Belgium, and I will be your host today. Just a few basic guidelines and housekeeping rules before we start, which will make this webinar far easier for all of us, and we're going to be able to get the most out of it. First of all, you have the Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. All you need to do to ask us a question is to click there and to simply just type it down. Also, right next to it, you do have a chat functionality, which you can use to ask different things and report quality problems along the webinars, and we will be here to assist right away. We will be answering the questions at the end of the webinar if we have enough time for it, which brings me to the point that this webinar will take between 35 and 40 minutes, shouldn't be more than that. We will try to keep it down to the point, very concise, and really, excuse me, and really well organized in a sense that we will try and give you just valuable, tangible information rather than saying a lot of things that don't really mean anything. A very important note, this is not a sales webinar. We will not try and sell you anything. We strongly believe in educating people, and we strongly believe in giving everybody an equal opportunity to benefit from nature's gifts and just to be able to gain their normal life back. So this was the entry note from me. I hope you will enjoy the webinar. Once again, don't be afraid, ask your questions. We will be more than happy to answer them as we go along. All right, so obviously the topic is keys to improving your sleep and getting healthy again. We will touch on all the aspects of sleep, starting from the benefits from a good sleep, how it's actually affecting your body, going through, going all the way down to all the details. Just something important, please make sure you stay until the end of the webinar because we have a little surprise for all of you, and I think you will enjoy that one. All right. Short agenda. Excuse me. Hence, we're going to cover 5 important points. The first one is why is sleep so important to you, to your body? But we're going to take a look at this from the perspective of hormones and your inner body rather than the usual stuff that you hear in webinars like this. So we're really going to try and take the scientific approach. During the second phase, we're going to cover the common causes of inadequate sleep. We're going to go slightly bit more in details, and we're really going to show you the reasons why 99% of everybody is basically not able to sleep. So that's hugely important. Then we're going to move on to the natural solutions to improve sleep. And we will definitely take a deep dive into the specific effects on your body from all these natural solutions. And then if we have enough time, we're going to go for a short Q&A. If we don't have enough time for the Q&A session, we're going to make sure that we'll get back to all of you via the email and answer all your questions. All right, without further ado, let's get started. All right, usually webinars like this start with the main question: who are we? Why are we here? Why, should we be talking to you and you listening to us? Well, we will most definitely tackle this, but we'll tackle it when we get down to the actual point where we help. It doesn't make any sense to tell you who we are right now. Let's take a deeper dive directly to the main points, and later on down the webinar we'll give you all the details that you need, so stay tuned. Okay, 5 main points showing you why sleep is so important for your body. We're going to take a deep dive into every single one of them, but basically we'll touch on the immune system, we'll touch on the cardiovascular diseases and the effect on sleep on them. We'll definitely talk about productivity, mood, and your cognitive function. We'll talk a little bit about athletic performance and exercises, and definitely we'll talk about your metabolism and how sleep is affecting whether you gain or lose weight. There's a short slide for every single one of these questions here, and I'll do my best to give you as much detail as possible. So the first and probably one of the most important points in this section of the webinar is how sleep is affecting your immune system, your inner recovery system. And the easiest way to explain this is to say that you should be thinking about sleep as your own personal internal maintenance system. What usually happens when you sleep is there are two aspects on the sleep on your body. On one hand, it gives the brain enough time to process all the information that has happened through the day. So that allows you to remember things better, that allows you to be able to recall facts and events. That's for the brain. And on the other side, it gives time and the needed energy to your own body to repair itself. Any bruises, any injuries, any diseases that you're struggling with are actually being coped with within your body when you sleep. So if you don't get enough sleep, obviously your body is not able to recover correctly. Hence you're suffering from one, not being able to memorize things and not being able to really stay focused and concentrated. And two, you just don't give yourself enough time to, recover from within. It's hugely important. Another very, very important aspect as well is the effect on sleep on your cardiovascular system. It's proven, it's quoted in a number of different scientific magazines and publications. By the way, I need to make a very important note. All the information that we give in this presentation is based on scientific studies. As this one, for example, it's a publication from the CDC. You will be able to find links to all these studies at the end of the webinar. This is going to be on the last slide, so if you want to consult them, they will be there at your disposal, so you can spend some time and read them. And I would definitely urge you, because the more you know, the more prone you are to take the right decision for yourselves. And that's really the goal in this webinar, to help you sleep better and to help you feel better, generally speaking. But going back to cardiovascular diseases, it is proven by a number of studies that insomnia is linked to high blood pressure and heart diseases. That's a fact. I'm not going to dwell into this one. Basically, if you're not sleeping, or if you're having even mild insomnia, or if you're just waking up in the middle of the night and having difficulties to go back to sleep again, you're at a risk level. So you really need to be careful with this, and this is why it's so crucial for you to do whatever it takes to be able to gain back your sleep. Obviously, two and two put together, not being able to sleep affects your productivity vastly. So not enough sleep results in you not being able to concentrate, you not being able to process all the information that you have learned in the previous day, that you have grasped in the previous week. It's hugely important, but not only for your productivity, but also for your mood and the overall cognitive function. Think about it this way. I'm going to try and put it down in simple terms, but if you're having a bad day, nothing's working out correctly for you. And I can only say it because I was suffering from insomnia back in the days, and I know how I felt. I know what it is like to go to work and to not be able to use your brain and to be like, what's going on with me? It's the exact same situation for all of you, I would imagine, and this is what we're trying to resolve in this case. But the main reason why you don't feel productive, or the main reason why you're not able to concentrate, is simply because you didn't get enough sleep the previous night. That's it, nothing else. So hugely important once again. Specifically looking into the studies, it was very clear that there is a very close correlation between obesity and lack of sleep. So, of course, on one hand, you have all the bad food and all the non-suitable ingredients in the food that people tend to enjoy. But at the same time, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not giving your body enough time to digest the food and to convert it from pure ingredients into either energy or something that doesn't stay under the form of fat. The reality is when you're not sleeping, what happens is your body is under stress. And when you're under stress, the natural reaction of the core is to produce insulin and cortisol. And these are the two hormones that are actually fighting with stress at all times. And this is what's happening within. So the fact is that insulin is the main factor why people convert food into fat. Insulin doesn't allow the fat to be broken down to energy and good I'm sorry, it's not, insulin is not allowing the body to convert the food into anything else but fat. It's stopping it. The same thing goes for cortisol, but insulin is by far the biggest enemy of losing weight. So if you're having not enough sleep and you're stressed, even during your sleep, guess what happens? Insulin kicks in, the food goes into the fat cells directly, and it stays over there. So there is a very close correlation in this case. So that's something also very important to think about. Now with this, I'm going to cover why sleep is so important. I think I made it very clear, but if you have some questions, now is the time to put them in the chat or the Q&A section of the webinar. I'm going to move on forward, and I'm just going to move on to the essence of the webinar, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the common causes of inadequate sleep, and you will be surprised by some of them. And again, all the details which are in this webinar are based on facts and figures. It's not just common sense, it's actually the studies that are sitting behind. So we chose 5, and these 5 are actually in charge of more than 90% of all cases of either insomnia or sleep disorder. The first one is nutrient deficiencies. The second one is stress, no brainer about this one. The third one is chronic pain, and no one really thinks about that, but it's a huge factor. The fourth one is overactive thyroid, and this is very common amongst women over 40. It's a big problem as well. And the fifth one, surprisingly for most of you, I would imagine, is over-the-counter drugs and medications. Again, I'll do the same thing. I'll go through each and every one of these and give you as much detail as I possibly can, so you can get the picture. Before I move on, throughout the presentation you will see some facts and figures again, and these facts and figures are over here just to give you that additional understanding about the gravity of the problem. The reality is that you're not the only ones not sleeping. And I'm saying it again from the position of a person who was suffering from bad sleep. I can say it for you as well, I'm sure of it. But the fact is, we are not alone. We're not alone. In America alone, there is more than 50 million people who are actually suffering from insufficient sleep. We're talking mild cases of insomnia, we're talking severe insomnia, we're talking waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to fall asleep. If this is one of your problems, make sure you stay in the webinar, because we're going to show you the solution just in a few slides. But it's a huge number just by the way it sounds. Over 50 million people. This is huge. Just imagine the loss of productivity and just unhappy moments. It's just this can be just stopped. Let's take a look into the different reasons why. The first one is nutrient deficiencies. Why is this so important? Well, it's so important because it actually goes very simple. You are what you eat. I'm sure you have heard this before, but the reality is you sleep what you eat as well. If you're taking bad food, not in the correct time, you will have bad sleep or no sleep at all. If you have a nicely balanced, healthy diet, then you will be able to enjoy a healthier, better sleep. That's for sure. Nutrition is the backbone of your health, no doubt about it. Everybody's talking about this. But when it comes down to sleep, there's 2 basic rules. First of all, don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed, because if you eat 3 hours before you go to bed, what happens is, a little snack or whatever, after food, the insulin kicks in right away. That's the law. That's just what happens. That's how our body reacts to the food at the beginning. I'm not going to go into the chemical part of the whole insulin slash glucose and what happens within the body. That's not the point of the webinar, but the reality is, the moment you kick that insulin, you're done. Sleep is gone. So you put your body into stress and you're not able to sleep. And I'm sure each and every one of you can relate. After you had a heavy meal before you go to bed, sleep just doesn't come at all. This is all backed by studies. Studies are at the end of the presentation. You can read them, but just take it as facts at this current moment of time. Very important as well, there's a number of key nutrients, a number of vitamins that you must have at all times. So you need to make sure that they are within your body all the time. Once again, lack of nutrients equals insulin release equals stress for your body within. However, if you have enough calcium, magnesium, and all these other vitamins that I've shown below, you're actually decreasing the negative effects. So you're self-balancing your body in a way, which is crucial once more. And also it gives your body the stability to be able to cope with the food and to be able to also equalize the levels of insulin and reach internal equilibrium. Again, the best you can do is just don't eat 3 hours before sleep and you will be far better. But just keep it in the back of your head. Make sure you take vitamins and it will be all fine. But food is something that we can control in a way. Stress, however, on the other side, is a far more different factor. Sorry, for some reason, Siri decides to listen to me at all times. So yeah, that's what happens when you're making a webinar. But stress is a completely different animal in this case. Over 77% of all Americans have reported they have experienced significant stress in the last couple of months alone. 77% of the entire adult population of the country. Now, what happens when stress kicks in is just remarkable in a negative way. But yeah, stress is the main reason for depression. Stress is the main reason for hypertension and chest pain. Stress is the main reason for heart issues. Stress is the main reason for lack of libido as well. Stress is the main reason for lack of sleep. So stress is basically affecting your life in all possible aspects. And unless you have a viable method or a viable way to control that stress or decrease that stress naturally, you're in trouble. And I'm saying it with such certainty because I've had my fair share of corporate days. I know what work did to me, and I know how it made me feel, and I know how I was trying to go to sleep and I was dreaming about Excel tables and plans and all this. And I hope you're not in the same situation right now, but the reality is any form of severe stress is going to cause negative effects for you. So you really need to be able to sort of figure out a way to get it out of your system. Either you go and do sports, either you take some supplements or something that will help, but you need to make sure that this is out of your system before you go to bed. Okay? And again, I could have given you a lot of chemical reasons and stuff like this, but I don't want to overcomplicate things. I'm trying to keep it very simple. If you have a specific question about a specific issue, just put it down in the sidebar, and we'll make sure we respond to it right away. What most of the people don't realize, however, is that chronic pain is one of the sub-factors of stress. And now this is very much it very much touches people who are 40 and over. And why people who are 40 and over? Because, well, we all have some ache in the knees or in the shoulder or whatever. It's the chronic pain that hits you in the middle of the night and you just cannot fall asleep. The reality is that there is a number of different chronic pains. Some of them are very severe and persistent at all times. Some of them are just sitting over there, mildly bothering you all the time. And these are the most dangerous ones because you're used to them. You think that this is part of your body and you just get them with aging, which is not necessarily the case for sure. But the reality is when you're under pain, you're under stress at the same time. It's not the same stress as the one you're getting from work, but it's stress for your body. It's stress for your system. And as I explained in the previous couple of slides, stress leads to insulin, stress leads to a number of different problems as well. You're in trouble once again. So you need to figure out a way to control the stress, yes, but if you're in pain, you need to figure out a way to control the pain as well. I'm just gonna play you a short video in the next slide. I want to make a very important note over here. It's from a customer of ours. I mean, we wouldn't use videos from people that we don't know. So I will say it very easily. It's one of our clients. She had chronic pain problems. Of course, she's happy. Yeah, why else would we be showing the video? But what I want you to see is, I want you to see her expression. I want you to see how she's looking right now, how happy and stress-free she actually is. So just give, let's just spend a couple of seconds and watch that video, and then I'll give you some more details on this one.
Hi, my name is Amy, and I recently had rotator cuff surgery. I actually had it done on July 1st, my right shoulder, and I'm actually doing quite well now. A week after I had the surgery, I had my stitches taken out, and then of course, I fell. And I told Ron about it, and he sent me up this wonderful stuff, the Relief Cream. I have a little bruise. You could probably still see it right here from where I fell. I take just a drop of this, and I rub this on the bruise area, and it instantly takes the pain away. Instantly. It's a miracle cream. I'm going to take this everywhere I go. Usually, after I go to physical therapy, they have that K-tape that they put on my shoulder. And then I use this stuff because the K-tape is porous, and this can go right through the K-tape if I'm having a bad day, which I don't have too many of because of the other cream. But just in case, this is my backup, and I use it on any other part of my body that hurts, because this is another one of those automatic pain relief type miracles that Ron makes. I'm not joking about this stuff. I actually took it to my physical therapist. I'm going to bring them some samples so that they can use it on other people, so that I'm not the only person who believes in all this great stuff. I can't say enough good about it. I also, because I've been sleeping on the couch since I had the surgery, tried one of his little sleep chews. I had one of the best night's sleeps I've had in probably 30 years. And it was absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to continue to get this stuff from him. I think everybody in the world should try this stuff from him. The company is fabulous. The shipping is wonderful. As soon as you order, it's in your mailbox within, I'm going to say latest 4 days. I don't know what else to say except it's wonderful. It's a miracle company. It's a miracle cream. It's a miracle rub-on. Just get it and use it. That's all I gotta say. Bye.
All right. Well, I think this was quite easy to understand. But again, ignore what she's saying about a company. That's not important right now. What is important is how she looks and how happy and carefree she is actually. The reality is she wasn't able to sleep at all. So what we did was we got rid of the pain, and then she saw immediate effects right after that. It was just crazy to see how she went from really down all the way to, like you just saw her. It's just super powerful, and that's what makes us really happy. But the important thing here is it doesn't really make any difference whether you're gonna buy your products from us or from anybody else. The important thing is, if you're in pain, find a way to get rid of it. Find a way to resolve that issue, because this is causing you stress on a subconscious level at all times. And once it's out, then you will be able to enjoy a good sleep. I'll quickly touch upon a problem specific to women over 40 years. It's a common problem for mainly for female. It doesn't happen with male that much, but it's the overactive thyroid. Now, if you're not familiar with this, thyroid is in charge of your hormonal levels across the body. All right, so it's that much in charge that it can affect your weight significantly. It can affect the way you look, the skin tone, the heart rate. It controls the entire body, and the reason why it controls the entire body is because it's actually a part of a system which is called the endocannabinoid system, which is within the body. It's just like your nervous system, like your cardiovascular system and all that. But this one specifically is in charge of the hormonal levels. Now, some people have it as overactive, and then what they do, they go to the doctor. The doctor tells them, all right, well, this is what you have. And they start trying to compensate the missing hormones with giving them artificial hormones. I can tell you by experience, this is a horrible mistake, because one single change within you and you keep on taking the same amounts of hormones that they give you, the results are devastating. I mean, I've got friends that have just gained weight like they doubled in size in a couple of months, and it's just horrible. But also this is affecting severely the sleep, because once again, if the correct hormones are in place, you're sleeping well. If they're not, however, you're in trouble. And my favorite topic out of all these ones is something that people usually present as, yeah, take this pill and you're going to fall asleep, take that pill and you're going to fall asleep. It's such a common thing for all of us to think that, okay, I'm just going to grab a pill and I'll sleep tonight. And people are so used to it, but they actually don't really realize what is happening in the big picture. You will sleep one night, you will sleep 2 nights, and I think we're all familiar with all these, with the rest rules and the Sonata and all these other Xanax and sleep pills like this. One, we know we need to go to the doctor, and the doctor needs to prescribe them, and also we know that with time we will start with one, they will need to increase the dosage, then we will need to increase the dosage once again, and so on and so forth. And we know that if we don't take it, we don't sleep again. We're actually getting dependent. And dependency is the biggest issue with all these medications. It's never enough, and you're not able to stop it. And if you stop it, you feel down, you feel depressed, and it's the end of the world once again. And this is the biggest reason why medications is over here, because it will give it a short relief. It will give it a short, the quick solution there and then, but they don't work on the long run. I mean, you have all heard about these cases about people on heavy medications that just didn't take it at one point. That's not what we want. As a matter of fact, we want to talk about something else that is more effective than these pills, something that you can take, you can enjoy, and something that is going to put you to sleep in a better way than all these medications, and you will wake up and you will be fresh and you will enjoy life. No drowsiness, no dependency, none of these side effects. Hugely important. Just a few slides and we're going to get to that point. Okay, so I think right now I don't need to go into any further details why sleep matters. I think it's very clear. I mean, you don't get enough sleep, you don't get the quality sleep that you need, you're in deep health troubles, and that's just not okay. And I don't think anybody wants this for anybody else. Now, I'll give you a few very basic tips about how you can get your adequate sleep, or how you can improve your sleep. And these are things that people know. These are things that people realize exist, but just don't do them yet. And then after that, we're going to take a deep dive directly into the natural solutions, because I think this is the point of the webinar. So, 3 major tips. And really, if you try and stick to them, I guarantee you that you will have an instant, well, not an instant, but you will have a significant increase in the quality of your sleep, as well as in the number of hours that you're sleeping. And the first one is build your own sleeping ritual. All right, make sure you go in bed at the same time and you wake up at the same time for at least 10 days. What will happen is your body will get accustomed to this ritual. Your body will get used to the fact that you go to bed at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever suits you, and you wake up at 6 or 7 in the morning. Even if you wake up at 4, even if you wake up at 5, that's fine. Just make sure that the next evening you go in bed at the exact same time. It's crucial. Number 2 is, please don't make the mistake that everybody does. Do not watch TV before going to bed. Like, try and stay away from TV, from computers, from cell phones. I don't mean don't watch them for a second, but I mean don't stare at them for like hours. And the reason behind this is all these screens, they emit the so-called blue light, and the blue light is basically adding additional stress to your brain directly. So when you go to bed, you're simply not able to fall asleep because you're under stress, because of the insulin, because of the cortisols, because of all these other elements kicking in at the same time. Think about it, such a trivial thing, a TV or whatever, and then it's affecting your sleep. But that's the reality. And again, it's in the studies that you're going to see at the end of the presentation. And number 3, I know everybody's talking about this, but it's hugely important. That's why I decided to put it in the presentation. Make sure you exercise regularly. And by exercising, I don't mean go to the gym. I don't mean run 10 miles. I don't mean run a marathon. No, I mean go out for a walk. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Give yourself the time to get tired, physically tired, at least a little bit. Two major benefits. One, you will reactivate your inner systems. So your heart will start pumping quicker. There is going to be more blood sending oxygen to the brain. So this is going to increase your cognitive function right away, like literally right away. And two, when you go to bed in the evening, and of course you want to make sure that there is at least 2 hours between your exercising and the time for sleep. But what's going to happen when you go to bed in the evening? After a workout, the brain is sending signals to all the muscles to relax and loosen. And if these muscles have been used during the day, that signal is much stronger. So it gives yourself a signal from within that, hey, it's time to cool down, it's time to fall asleep, because you need to get these muscles repaired. Because that's what happens when you sleep, remember? You're repairing your body within. After exercise, you're just boosting that signal from the brain to the rest of the body. Okay, but as I mentioned, this is just very trivial, everybody knows it. Let's look at the not so conventional elements in this presentation. Natural solution, and I'm sure you have heard about some of them, maybe you haven't about some of the other ones, but let's go through them right away. Melatonin, it's definitely proven to work. That's something that you can consider at all times, and you can try it. I haven't tried it personally, but I have friends who have tried it, and they say that it has worked for them really well. Number two is just please don't have a coffee, please don't smoke, please don't drink before going to bed. It's ruining your sleep, all right? So stay away from natural elements that will get you excited. And that's exactly what happens. Caffeine and nicotine, they get your body pumping, and that's not what you want. Staying hydrated is obviously very important. I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but take your 1.5 to 2 liters of water, and this is going to grant you smooth work of your body. Hemp and CBD, I'm not sure whether you have tried this, but this is what we specialize in, and this is what I'm going to talk about from here on. But this is something that if you haven't tried, you must try definitely, because it's specifically helpful for quality sleep. But I'll go into the details later on in the next couple of slides. And just try with some lavender herbs or essential oils, things that you can put in your bedroom that will calm your body down, that will bring a sensation of a calmer ambience. All these things work, all of them for sure. They have been tested by thousands and thousands of people. There is no doubt about that. If you have to make a choice between taking a pill or testing one of these, I would much rather test one of these ones and just figure out if they work for me or not. But as I mentioned, what we specialize at Cannabaquin is we specialize in hemp and CBD, and this is what I'm going to talk in the next couple of slides. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we were going to mention a few words about us later on when the time was right. I want to sort of clarify, who we are and why do we think we can talk to you about sleep and CBD at the same time. It's very important to know the person who is talking to you, and it's very important to know, what they basically have been doing and why do they think they qualify to speak in front of you. We at Cannabaquin, we're proud members of the biggest associations for hemp and agriculture in the States. So we're fully licensed, we get regular checks, and quality is a total priority for all of us at all times. But that's just a given. I don't need to sort of go into the details of this. What is more important is that we have been farming hemp, and I mean quality hemp, since 1975. I don't think this is going to be an over-exaggeration if I say that probably Ron, the CEO of the company, is one of the oldest farmers of hemp in America. And we're consulting different companies on how to grow and all this, but that's irrelevant right now. It doesn't concern sleep. What is just important for you to know is that we have offices across the States and in Europe. Obviously, I'm in Europe, hence the accent. But we also have farms across the States as well. So we have farms in Florida, in Oregon, in Kentucky. So pretty much across the States. And for us, it doesn't only come down to growing plants. What we actually do is we close the entire circle. So we take the strains, the specific CBD strains, we develop the specific genomes from them, and these are the ones that we actually plant, so we can get the best possible plants out there that will deliver the products that will have the best effect. And I would strongly urge you, when you're considering trying CBD, or if you're considering changing your CBD supplier, please make sure that it's someone who is reputable and someone who is licensed. We have seen so many cases of people saying, yes, CBD doesn't work for me, it's just not okay, simply because they were actually buying from the local shop across the corner, and what they were taking was just nowhere near what they were supposed to be taking. So quality is crucial. So again, it's not a sales webinar. It doesn't make any difference whether you're going to go with us or with somebody else. Just please make sure that they're qualified. Please make sure that they're licensed, and that whatever it says on the label is whatever is actually inside the bottle. It's hugely important. A little bit of history on hemp, and I have 2 slides just to clear out any misunderstandings from the get-go. Hemp has been around for the last more than 5,000 years. Okay, so it has been the go-to plant for any type of inflammation or any type of pain for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, the reality is that with the break of with the Industrial Revolution and people discovering sort of modern medicine as well as modern plastics, corporations made the best that they can to protect their business, and that was to ban hemp as a plant. And what they did is they actually stigmatized it. Right? They said, no, this is a drug. It's very bad for your health. You shouldn't be taking it, and it actually got banned. In 1970, it got banned completely. However, 15 years later on, there was one of these pharmaceutical companies that still knew the effects from hemp, and they actually made the first legal medication which is based on CBD specifically, which is called Marinol. That's back in 1985. From that point on, obviously the game has changed. 1996, hemp was legalized in California for medical use. And the rest of the story. 2018, it was approved by the FDA, and then it was there was a bill signed to legalize hemp across the states. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all this is not to dwell on, this is no longer shady and all that. What I'm trying to tell you is that you have the ability to use a plant that has been used by our ancestors 5,000 and more years ago. That's something that has been proven by time, something that works big time. Okay, and it's just a very important fact. And I would like to make one more additional clarification, which is hugely important, and that's the difference between hemp for CBD and the smokable marijuana. Hemp, the one that we grow and the one that we use to produce CBD oil and all our sleep products and everything else, it only contains 0.3% or less of the THC section of the plant. The difference between hemp and marijuana is the overall amount of THC within. THC is the ingredient that makes you go high, which is completely forbidden by law in most of the states, and we are simply not growing it. If we were growing it, then we wouldn't be able to get our licenses. Whereas CBD and hemp grown for CBD, CBG and CBN is the one that is used for sleep reliefs, the one that is used for stress management, to decrease anxiety and all that. And there is a gazillion case studies online. I'm sure you have seen some of them with people reporting the benefits from using CBD. I'm not going to go into the details once more, but I just wanted to tell you the major difference between these two. And I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. But I want to sort of kill another big myth in this case. And that big myth is that Big Pharma is only producing their own pills and they're staying away from the CBD market. That's not the case. As a matter of fact, Big Pharma is big time in the CBD market. They're buying a lot of CBD, including from us. and they're producing their pills based on CBD as well, specifically to deal with stress and sleep. However, what they do is they synthesize the product. So we would provide them with the material, and then they would synthesize it. They were trying to mix it with their own formulations and their own specific procedures and so on. And then in the end, what you're taking is not really the natural plant coming from the farm, but it's something that has small portions of that and nothing else to do with nature. So keep that as well. Just be conscious if you get to the point of buying CBD products coming from Big Pharma. They're just not the real deal, okay? Let me show you some numbers. I think this is going to be, before I show you the numbers, let's talk about the miracle of cannabinoid, of CBD. So many people actually do call it a miracle because that's the only plant that is able to tackle all major issues at the same time in one go. You take one gummy, or you take one droplet of CBD oil, or you take whatever the shape or the form it is, and it's tackling all sleep-related problems at the same time. It's just crazy. It helps you with the stress, it helps you with the pain, it helps you with appetite, it regulates your internal hormonal levels, as I mentioned when I was talking about the thyroid. It just puts your system back into balance. And this is such a crazy fact. Normally you would have to take 10 different pills for each and every single one of these points that I have on the slide, whereas here you only take one natural ingredient and it just balances your system out. It's if you haven't tried it, I would strongly urge you to try it, because it's a miracle. Really, the way you feel, the way you're able to enjoy life after that, it's you gotta try it to understand what I'm talking about. Obviously, we're not the only ones talking about CBD. There's a huge market over there, but this graph over here is taken from Statista, which is the official statistics in the States, and it gives you representation on the market of CBD since from 2014 up until 2022. And you can see that it all started for about $108 million per year, which is pretty much nothing. And now it's hitting $1.9 billion per year. So it's not because we're growing more, but it's because more and more people are seeing the positive effects and are just buying and rebuying and just using it over time. And it's working for them. That's the only reason why our market is going so steadily throughout the years. Obviously, the legislation is allowing it, so this is removing some barriers, but the reality is more and more people are trying it. So my question to you is, if so many people have already tried it and they sleep better, why? What's the point? And in reality, what they have done is they have simply realized that going back to nature is the only way to balance your bodies and minds. And that's the truth. You need to keep your body and mind well balanced so that you get to enjoy that sleep. And this is the reason why the previous slide looked like this. It's because people are just trying it, liking it, feeling good because of it, and then just continuing. But again, this is just for your own consideration. I'm not going to go into this slide. I'm not even going to read it. This slide is for you. You're going to get a recording of the presentation, so you'll be able to read all these things. This is more technical data on how CBD is touching your system. What I would like to do is I would actually like to go a little bit more into the specific details. This is the so-called cannabinoid wheel. This here is showing you all the different aspects and all the different problems that hemp is solving. This includes everything related to pain and sleep. This includes gastro or mood and behavioral problems or neurological problems, everything. Now, feel free to look at it when you're watching the recording. I'm going to concentrate just on that sleep and pain section because I think this is most important for us. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And apologies for the quality of the slide, but it's just the best that we have right now. But this clearly shows you the effect that CBD has on pretty much everything. So if you look into all these sections, inflammation, arthritis, pain, insomnia, different kind of injuries, migraines and headaches, cramps, all these sections over here are actually completely perfectly corresponding to the main problems of sleep that I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. All of them, with no exclusion. So basically, a single plant, a simple plant, is solving all your issues in one go. Of course, there is a lot of knowledge behind. You shouldn't just be taking some CBD from I don't know where and just taking as much as you want. It's not going to work. The real science goes behind the curtain. The real science goes in the mixture of the different elements. It's not only CBD. CBD is affecting the stress section of the brain mostly, but what we do, and this is just an example for you, it's not a sales pitch, but what we do is we actually try to combine CBD, CBG, CBN, and a couple of different cannabinoids inside, so that what we do is we send a well-calculated signal to the brain and the body at the same time. So what happens is the CBD is relaxing the mind, that's for sure. CBG is relaxing the muscles. CBN is improving the communication between the brain and the muscles at the same time. So you're taking a candy, and what happens is you have an explosion of communication within your body. One section tells your muscles, okay, now it's time to sleep, calm down. So it relaxes the muscles. The other one is taking care of the brain. The brain is checking, are the muscles relaxed? Can I go to sleep? Are the muscles relaxed? Can I go to sleep? As soon as the response comes back, there is a perfect symbiosis between these two parts, and you simply fall asleep, and you sleep like a baby. That's the reality. So the magic happens when you have the perfect combination between the different elements of the plant. So make sure when you get to the point of making that decision for you, just make sure you know what you're taking. Okay. Of course, it's still a controversial topic. It's still something that is, people are not taking so lightly. So once again, I took some data from Statista, just wanted to bring you some numbers and to, show you what is the reality. 43% of all adult Americans have already tried medical cannabis or CBD. We're talking 43, that's half of the population in the United States. Out of which 33% believe that this should be legal for everybody, and this includes pretty much all different cannabis-related product. 32% believe that medical cannabis is a good alternative to traditional medical products. Think about it, 32% of all the adult population. So we're not only talking about people with sleep problems, we're talking about people with pain, people with different dependencies and so on. It's just crazy. I'm not going to go through this once more. You will see the people that are not interested, the people that believe that this should be criminalized once again. It's a free world. Everybody's free to have an opinion. The reality is that half of the population have already tried it, and out of these half, 33%, they just think that this is something that should be used by everybody. So the reason why I'm showing you this is just to tell you, hey, you're not alone. There's a lot of people using this already, and it's giving them good results, and this is why they keep on using it. Okay. So I think so far I've managed to give you a pretty good picture on what might work for you. And I'm not only talking about CBD, but I'm talking about the overall approach, with the routine, with the food and everything else. Of course, we're mostly qualified to talk about CBD and the results, and this is something that we know, in extreme details. But yeah, our job over here is to educate you and help you a little bit more with your sleep. However, again, as I mentioned, we're not selling anything over here. However, our mission is to try and help people sleep better. All right. So just for the people in this webinar, what we have decided to do is we have decided to help you out and let you try for free. Okay. absolutely free, no obligations, no nothing. We want to make sure that you sleep better, and then you make your decision how you want to proceed with this. But what we want to do is we want to give you the option to go and try this, all right, and really try something that is developed by professionals, something that is coming from our own farms, and something that we can prove, you know, everything from the seed all the way down to the candy, because we keep track of all this, of the entire process. We're completely circular. So this is something that I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes. But before I move on to to this, a couple of takeaways for you. A couple of things which I hope you will be sort of remembering after this webinar. The first one is basically related to the positive effects of hemp, and really you can tap into a resource that you probably haven't tried it. The second one is, please don't stay on the sideline. Try a solution that works for you. Just try something that will get you out of the circle of either not sleeping or being dependent on over-the-counter medicine. Health starts with good night's sleep, that's for sure. Very rarely over-the-counter medicine is going to be the solution to your problem. Please, if you have found this very inspiring and useful, just join our mission. Get out of the common stigma and put trust back into nature. Try something that is organic and that is real, instead of a white pill or a blue pill or whatever. And again, reach out to us should you have any questions. We will help. This is what we are doing. So anything you want to ask us related to CBD, we're there for you. All right? As I mentioned in like 2 slides ago, if you want to try this product, you get a free sample from us. We're going to send you a jar. This is actually the jar that we send. It has 15 cubes inside. It will give you 15 nights of good sleep, and you will be able to try it. It's absolutely free. I'll send you a link in chat in a few seconds, so you can click and try it. And we will also send it over the email to all of you, so you can just click on the email and see the page. So with this in mind, that's what happens when you're running webinars live. I'm sorry about this slide, it repeats the previous one. But in this in mind, on behalf of the entire team, I can only say a huge thank you for staying all the way until the end of the webinar. I hope it was really interesting for you. Once again, my name is Mumchul. I'm the CMO, but Ron and Zoe are here to help you as well. I see that we have gone way over the 35 minutes that I promised, so I'm not going to run the Q&A session, but we will follow up with all your questions over the email, so rest assured we will not leave any question unanswered. So a huge thank you to all of you. Feel free to send us a message or call our toll-free number if you have any questions. And as mentioned before, you will be able to find all the studies in the resource page that will be coming to you after the webinar. Thank you once again, and have a good day.